Good evening, sir, and to all the participants present in this meeting. This is Anika Sharma. I'm recently working as an external manager with the Amikus Qriae, and I will be a moderator for this 2-day certificate course. I welcome you all to this on behalf of Amikus Qriae to this 2-day certificate course on cyber law with JLN Murthy sir as the speaker. As you all have known that Sir JLN Murthy is a learned, renowned and an experienced lawyer. He is also the chairman of Global Law Institutes. He is the honorary board member of the Amikus Qriae as well. He has an experience of 25 years on corporate side as a global head for multinational companies and Indian corporates. And he is an independent director for few multinationals and Indian corporates in India as well as in various other countries. He is also the governing council member of ICADR and the regional center in charge and secretary of ICADR regional center. He had varied experience on ADR, IPR, merger acquisition, cyber laws, labor laws, and direct and indirect taxes. And I can just go on counting his experiences, expertise, and achievements. But here I'll stop and just ask Sir to take over and begin with this workshop for you all. And I hope you'll enjoy this. Thank you very much. Sir, now you can take over.
Thank you, Anika Sharma. Good evening to all of you. It was a great pleasure to be part of the Amikus Qriae organization, and I welcome on behalf of Amikus Qriae once again. It's a wonderful introduction. Thank you very much. Friends, let me tell you that I have a passion in learning and also in teaching side. Very specifically, having been worked with the global companies in the multinational side and also Indian corporates as a global head, being now the independent director for a few companies, this has given me a thought process that whatever knowledge I gain should be also taught to the young generation, very specifically those are budding to come in their upcoming life, and also they need to know the new lines of the availability of avenues in the legal side. Very specifically, when you look at the litigation part, it is everyone choice. But at the same time, if you look at the other side of the litigation also, there is a larger greenery part. So you need to understand that how big is that greenery part and how you are going to utilize in your professional life. At the same time, how it will be make you comfortable from various locations all over the world. You can sit and do the professional teachings and also professional work. So these kind of things will only get you once you understand what are the various options available in the entire world and what we need to get into and how it can be practiced. All these things are fundamentals which you also need to learn, and applicability you need to understand, nitty-gritties you need to understand, then you can come into the profession. So today Amikus Qriae has given a 2-day cyber law program, introductory program. So these 2 days we will be understanding about the entire cyber laws, and also not only that, and where all it is applicable. You may be knowing every day there are some or other issues happening because each one of you may be having one mobile in your hand. So when you are having a mobile in your hand, there are multiple cyber crimes keep happening. Unknowingly or knowingly, you will allow many people into your data. So when your data is there in the mobile itself, leave it to the computers now. Computer is gone, bygone era now. Only other than this lecture, I never use the computer also. So these kind of situations made the people who want to get into your data and use your data and make it use the wrongfulness. So part of the cyber crimes were coming through only through larger part in the mobile. So you need to restrict yourself. If you do not restrict yourself, then you're gone out of your hands. That means the people, those who are using the regular internet savvy guys and also using the computers and mobiles in a larger part, are becoming a prey for the people, those who want to thrash your all your data from you and use the commercialization. Maybe you could have heard recently, 1 week back, there are microfinance companies, huge microfinance companies with various names have come in place. But these microfinance companies are dummy companies. They're not original companies. So they mentioned it as a microfinance and they said that they are going to give the loans. They launch few of apps and knowingly or unknowingly you got into your mobile or you got into your computer. So when you got into your computer or your mobile, you may be seeing that the app which is come already in your mobile or in your computer is trying to get all your friends data, all your things. That is what happened last week. That means they took all the mobile numbers of your close friends, they took all the email IDs of your close friends, and they started sending mails to them and SMSs to them and also WhatsApp messages to them that so and so XYZ person has taken loan from us and he has not repaid that. So by this they are blackmailing you. It means, for example, if you are threat with this kind of situations, they will say that you have taken 50,000 loan and you are not paid for last 1 year. So like these messages they are sending it. That means you may get shocked listening this from your friends. Then automatically you'll run and around and ask your parents or yourself and say that first you pay, then we will think of it. So this kind of a pressures were developed. I have seen large number of complaints have come in this way to me also. Then we are trying to resolve that and we are trying to put in these microfinances companies also out of the radars. So this kind of situations will largely come into your access. Somebody may be taking your one of your photograph and they are doing redoing with different heads and all these things, and mopping will be done, and once the mopping will be done they will try to show you as a different characters and they are trying to blackmail you. All these things are regular spying, regular crimes which are happening in the cyber laws. You may be knowing more than me. You may be knowing multiple hundreds and thousands of crimes. Every day this cyber law, under this cyber law are coming into effective manner. So that means you are becoming a prey, and once you are becoming a prey, leave it part of your professional knowledge and your acceptance of doing the professional work on this. Now, once you yourself become a prey on this, just think of what is the situation. These are the situations where the cyber crimes have been started developing. Then India, in the last 1 decade, had started developing the cyber laws. That means not only the cyber laws, but also to secure the people, because we are largely using various kinds of apps on your mobile. I may be also. I have done many apps which do not know, and they ask me to allow. So this kind of things, mistakes, everybody keep on doing it. But it should not go to the larger extent. It should not ruin your life. Be careful and be smart enough and see that the banking details very important to you. Banking details and your personal details are not completely kept in your WhatsApp or in your apps or in your mobile or on a computer. So be careful on these kinds of situations so that you should not lose and cry on that. So friends, with this small introduction and how things are developing, you may be knowing much larger crimes on these kind of things. So we will be discussing for up till 6:30 today the larger part of cyber crimes. I will take you through first initially the introduction part of it. Hope everyone are able to see and listen to me the presentation. Can somebody, one of you can say
Yes,
yes?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. So there will be a notes also will be shared by the organizers, which I have already shared with them on the cyber laws, which will give you the introductory part and also the recent developments. There are many developments keep happening now because under the current government they have brought the data protection laws. All these things are there now. So things are becoming day by day better, and let us not get into this kind of a cyber praise and see that our lives are ruined. So please ensure that all this systematic and a disciplined manner you are trying to use the apps, and also which will not, you will not allow all the apps to access your data. So these kind of things are they happening very regularly, and don't cry and go for a complaint again. But let me now take you through what is actually the cyber laws. We will be discussing what is cyber law and what is cyber crime initially, and what is the need of cyber law and law encompassing the cyber laws, important of cyber laws, importance, advantages of implementation of cyber laws, jurisprudence of cyber laws, public interest litigation field by Asian School of Cyber Laws, data privacy protection in India, evolution of key terms under the cyber laws, definition of terms under IT Act, what is cyber laws. So these are the important things which we are going to discuss today, and which will, if you have doubts, please at the end of the presentation you can ask me, or you can post meanwhile while I am giving the presentation in the question and answers. So the organizers will bring it to my notice at the end of this session. Very, very important. Cyber law is a law governing cyberspace. Just think of cyber law is the law governing cyberspace, like aeroplane, aerospace. Like this, it is going to govern the entire cyberspace, and cyberspace is a very wide term and includes computers, networks, software, data storage devices such as hard disks, USB disks, etc. The internet, the website, emails, and even electronic devices such as cell phones, ATM machines, etc., etc., all will be covered. Everything will be covered. The device which is occupying the cyberspace, everything will be covered under the cyber law. This law encompasses the rules and conduct also. That it has been approved by the government. The laws need to be approved by the government in implementation in India, which are in force over a certain territory, which must be obeyed by all persons in and on the territory. Violation of these rules could lead to government action such as imprisonment or fine or an order to pay the compensation. So violation of any cyber rules which have been the cyber laws are implemented in India, they are the government will file a complaint, and the complaint will be taken as an imprisonment or fine or order to pay compensation. So the compensation minimum is from 2 lakhs to 7 lakhs is there. Just think of, be careful when you do certain a kind of an applications whether it will fall under the cyber laws or not. If it is falls under the cyber law, and don't misuse it and get into imprisonment or fine. So please be careful on this kind of things. Very specifically, the cyber law encompasses really relating to cyber crimes, electronic and digital signatures, and also intellectual property, data protection and privacy, e-contracts, and many, many, many more, which I have not defined here. A cybercrime or unlawful acts where the computer is used either as a tool or a target or both. The enormous growth in electronic commerce, that is e-commerce, very specifically when you buy a fashion t-shirt or a fashion ladies clothes, you should see that whether you are taking the material from a recognized website or recognized company, because nowadays the design copying is also happening. That means before it comes as a patented person, people are misusing like. So be careful that a design, a copyright, a trademark, all these kinds are also falls under this. When you buy a cloth and without knowing that it is been designed has been some other person has registered, and this person who is selling in the e-commerce is misusing that. So please be careful and kindly buy the things in a very restricted and also from a recognized websites and recognized companies. This online sharing trading has led to a phenomenal spurt in incident of cybercrime. These crimes are discussed in detail further in this lecture in due course. A comprehensive discussion on Indian law relating to cybercrimes and digital evidence is provided in the ASCL publication and titled as a Cybercrimes and Digital Evidence Indian Perspective. Electronic signatures are used as authentic electronic records. Digital signatures are one type of electronic signature, and digital signature satisfies these three legal requirements: signer authentication, message authentication, and message integrity. So be careful, friends. Like, for example, if you are doing a networking, net banking, if you are doing it and in the net banking the authorization and verification is not properly done through, then it will become also a part of something wrong is going on in your net banking system also. So be careful, friends. So when you are doing some authentication and other things, it should be very carefully done, and so that it should not be kept open so that other people misuse it. So friends, these electronic signatures also electronic allowance with ATM number or ATM top number, or like for example different kinds of messages when you get. Don't divulge your CVV number in a credit card or your other information, so that it will not be misused by, which are happening very regularly. So friends, be careful. Electronic signatures are very widely used, and when you are using it, be careful that it should not be disclosed to the others. The technology and efficiency of digital signature makes them more trustworthy than handwritten signatures. These issues are discussed in various publications and also in the e-commerce legal issues. Friends, you may be not knowing that recently in Consumer Protection Act, in the Consumer Protection Act, e-commerce is also brought into their ambit. That means when somebody misuses the things through the cyber way, and when they are using it, that misuse one, that can be challenged in each court in a Consumer Protection Act under each consumer courts in each state and districts also. So just to remind you about the e-commerce development, I am bringing it to your notice. Intellectual property is refers to creation of a human mind. Example: a story, a song, a painting, or a design. Just now I have told you a design, a song. Just think of a song which you sung by, and nobody knows that whatever the theme, routine, and other things in that musical things, nobody knows. But by the time you are aware that somebody could have snatched away your song also. This is one of the cyber crimes. At the same time, when you have written a story or an article, be careful. And when you are giving a publication on this kind of situations, it should be properly taken care. And also the intellectual property, various trademarks, patents, designs, copyrights, infringements, all these things are part and parcel of the cyberspace, are covered by the cyber law. Some of the examples are copyright law in relation to computer software, computer source code, websites, cell phones contents, and software and source code licenses. All these things are also very, very important. You may be a software engineer whom you are trying to practice in the cyber laws. You may be designed few softwares which you are trying to sell it to some other person, but at the same time the copyright law is applicable under the is being restricted under the cyber laws, so that the contents should be very clear and it should be licensed. If you do not have the license on that, anybody can use your own softwares or computer source codes or websites. So be careful, friends, when you are taking care, or when you are looking at correcting these kinds of an agreements or contracts or various other things, then you should be able to see the cyber laws also has been covered in this aspect. That means when it is covered under the Cyber Laws Act also, it gives the restricted safeguard for the user and also for your important invention which you have done it. Need of a cyber law. There are various reasons why it is extremely difficult to conventional law to cope up with cyberspace. Some of these are cyberspace in the intangible dimension that is impossible to govern and regulate using the conventional law. For example, goodwill. Goodwill is also intangible dimension. Like this, many more are there where the cyberspace is also similar kind of a thing that is possible to govern and regulate using the conventional proper law. Cyberspace has complete disrespect for jurisdictional boundaries. A person in India could break into a bank electronic vault hosted on a computer in USA and trade millions of rupees to another bank and transfer that to the Switzerland all within minutes. All he would need is a laptop, computer, and a cell phone. That means how easy you think of the cyber laws, the cyber crimes are happening. Only using a computer and a cell phone, all these things are happening. Cyberspace handles gigantic traffic volumes every second. Yes, huge volumes. The internet space is very used, so people are trying to use. They want to use it as early as possible. So when you show the eagerness of more speed in the internet, you should also see that the eagerness of cyber crime happening in between. Don't mistake me. I'm telling naturally it happens. For example, billions of emails are crisscrossing the globe. Even as we read these, millions of websites are being accessed every minute, and billions of dollars are electronically transferred around the world by banks in every day and every minute. Be careful with your things. Cyberspace is actually absolutely open to participants by all. A 10-year-old in Bhutan can have a live chat session with an 80-year-old in Bali without any regard for the distance or the anonymity between them. Just understand that can create a cyber crime. At the same time, cyberspace offers never seen before the economic efficiency. A software source code crores worth crores of rupees or a movie can be pirated across the globe within hours or their release. That is also a cyber crime. Somebody copies the Salman Khan's picture when it got released, within hours it gets pirated. This is also a cyber crime. Just think of theft of a corporal information. Sometimes the strategies of the corporal information also lead to a cyber crime. Example, books, papers, CD-ROMs, floppy disks, all these can also be pirated. Easily covered by traditional penal provision. However, the problem begins when electronic record are copied quickly, inconspicuously, or and often via telecommunication facilities. Here the original information, so to say, remain in the possession of the owner, and yet information gets automatically stolen. So friends, just think of how the duplicating things are happening, how the infringement is happening. Just think of when you have put crores and worth thousands and crores of rupees for filming a film, and also when you are put thousands and crores of rupees for designing a solution, all these things will fall under the cyber laws when you do a theft in that. Like for example, you may be knowing the multinational companies, maybe Microsoft, Red Bull, many companies, they invent lot of patent. They do register lot of payment patents every year, thousands. That is how it has been. Microsoft has become a richer organization. Just think of the Red Bull conducts how beautiful events everywhere in the world, and that are also pirated. So just think of how things are getting pirated when the corporates are spending lakhs and crores of rupees and getting it patent. Before it gets patented, it is got pirated. Be careful. That is where the importance of cyber law comes into picture. It covers all transaction over internet. It keeps eyes on all activities over internet. It touches every action and every reaction in the cyberspace. Cyber laws contain different types of purposes. Very specifically, some laws create rules for how individuals and companies may use computers and the internet, while some laws protect people from becoming the victim of crime through unscrupulous activities on the internet. The major area of cyber law includes in that. So be careful. Don't think that the cyber law is applicable. I am safe. Be safe first yourself, make yourself safe, and then allow the cyber crime into it. It is become unnecessary nuisance. When a client comes to you, you have to also tell them the preparedness, which is very important when the applicability of the cyber laws are happening and the crimes are happening across the world. Fraud. Consumer depends on the cyber laws to protect them from online fraud, and also laws are made to prevent the identity theft, credit card theft, and other financial crimes that are happening very regularly online. A person who commits identity theft may face confederate or a state criminal charges also applicable to him. Criminal laws are applicable to him. All this we will be discussing. They might also encounter a civil action brought by a victim. Cyber laws work to both the defend and prosecute against allegations of fraud using the internet. Let us also look into the copyrights. Copyrights. The internet made a copyright violation easier. That is, in early days of online communication, copyright violation was too easy. Both companies and individuals need lawyers to bring action to impose the copyright copyright protections. So copyright violation is an area of cyber law that protects the rights of individuals and companies to profit from their own creative works. See why you are struggling. You are want to create something like a software when you are trying to create something extra which you thought that it may be commercialized and you will be able to earn out of it. Like for example, if you look at the pharma inventions, let us take the COVID one. Recently, Pfizer has announced we have invented a COVID injection. So this injection, maybe by the time it is been allowed all over the world, if there is a parallelly duplication or also will start off. That means the money which Pfizer is going to gain is very short term. So the patents which by the time they make it and it should be used and should be protected through the cyber laws in every country from them. So we need to take care of the protection at the same time and also the piracy. So these things are happening in multiple countries and multiple manufacturing concerns, not only the trading one, everywhere. Defamation. Several persons use the internet to speak their mind. When people use the internet to say things that are not true, it can cross the line into defamation. The defamation laws are civil laws that save individuals from take public statements that can harm a business or someone's personal reputation. When people can use internet to make statements that violate civil laws and that can be called as a defamation law. Harassment and stalking. Sometimes online statements can violate criminal laws that forbid harassment and stalking. When a person makes threatening statements again and again about someone else online, there is a violation of both civil and criminal laws also. Just think of. Be careful when you are making a statement. Cyber lawyer both prosecute and defend the people when staking across using the internet and other form of electronic communication. At the same time, Organizations are now able to carry out e-commerce using the legal infrastructure provided by this Cyber Law Act also. But it has a multiple effects also which need to be also taken care with other laws. Just now I have told you about the Consumer Protection Act. So digital signatures have been given legal validity and sanction in the act. So be careful with your signatures. Don't sign everywhere on a white paper, never. It has opened the doors for entry of corporate companies for issuing digital signature certificates in the business or of being certifying the authorities like RBI when the company law things or SEBI rules and regulations when the digital signatures are used and how effective it has to be used and how you have to keep them safeguard. Advantages of implementation of cyber laws. It allows the government to issue notification on the web, thus heralding e-governance. It gives authority to the companies or organizations which to file any form. Just now I have mentioned to you. Application or any other document with any office, authority, body or agency owned or controlled by suitable government in the e-form by means of such e-form as may be prescribed by the suitable government. The IT Acts also addresses the important issue of security, which are so critical and success of the electronic transactions. So whatever the electronic transactions keep happening, you should also see that it falls under the cyber law, and IT Act also addresses the important issues which I will share with you in due course. Jurisprudence of Indian cyber laws. Just now, I have been telling you that be careful when you are doing certain transactions. So, these transactions will help you protection from the cyber crimes, and these cyber crimes will also. Can I hold for a second, please? Even I can tell you there are cyber laws which are protecting everything, but also at the same time, there are people in this group also which knowingly or unknowingly doing a cyber crime in continuation. I'm able to see certain things offline just now. So be careful, friends. Everything can be a cyber crime which fall under the cyber law. For example, jurisprudence of Indian cyber law. Very specifically, the primary source of cyber law in India is the Information Technology Act under 2000, that is IT Act, which came into force on 17th October 2000. The primary purpose of this act is to provide legal recognition to electronic commerce and also to facilitate filing of electronic records within the government. The IT Acts also penalizes various cyber crimes and provide strict punishment, imprisonment up to 10 years and compensation up to 1 crore. So just think of the imprisonment of minimum 10 years it can be, and also the compensation of 1 crore. The executive order dated 12th September 2002 contained instructions relating to provision of the Act with regard to the protected systems and application for the use of digital signature and its certificates regularly. Minor errors in the Act were rectified by the Information Technology Removal of Difficulties, that is Order of 2002, which was passed on 19 September 2002. The IT Act was amended by the Negotiable Instrument, that is Amendment and Miscellaneous Provisions Act of 2002, and this introduced the concept of electronic checks and also truncated checks also. The information technology use of electronic records and digital signature rules of 2004. So these are all the jurisprudence of Indian cyber law has provided the necessary legal framework for filing of documents with the government as well as the issues of licenses by the government. On the same day, and information technology certifying authorities rules 2000 are also come into force. There were certain guidelines for submission of a certificate and certification revocation list to the controller of certifying authorities for publishing in National Repository of Digital Certification certificates. These were used on 16th December 2002. These rules prescribe the appointment and working of Cyber Regulations Appellate Tribunal (CRAT), whose primary role is to hear appeal against the order of adjudicating officers. So, friends, while we are discussing about the jurisprudence, there are certain crimes are also happening in this lecture also. Just think of how quickly people are very smart to get into this presentation, get into this particular program and take out certain data and try to misutilize it. That is why I stopped in between for 2 minutes. Who has been accessing, who has been trying to get out of this information? Because I have seen sometimes in the WhatsApp itself getting into my group and entering into my group and misuse the utilization. So all these things will be back work done by certain other people. They will try to ask some other person to help in this, and without the other person knows what exactly these people are doing it, they unknowingly recommend for that, and these recommendations will also lead to a cyber crime. Just think of. So I will be laughing at them always. That is why in between I have given two stoppages and looked at the gap, what is happening in the back door. This is also a cyber crime. This also falls under cyber laws. If somebody enters into this particular program with a different name, it can be easily recognized. Friends, not only it is very important to understand what is cyber laws and also its jurisprudence, but at the same time, it has been a technical knowledge how it can be moved out and how it can be done. So, friends, with this kind of situations, you need to have undergone the Ministry of Home Affairs of India this particular training of how to recognize the crimes happening during the programs and various other things, how it is happening and what is the root canal in that also. You need to understand applicability of the law. Anybody can do it, but at the same time, the applicability is not the law, it is the technique which you also need to understand how to avoid that. The Cyber Regulation Appellate Authority, like for example, salary, allowances, and other terms and conditions of service of presiding officers, Rule 2003, prescribed the salary, allowances, and other terms for presiding officer of the CRAT. Information Technology Rules 2003, other powers of civil court vested in Cyber Appellate Tribunal, provide some additional powers for CRAT again. So on 17th March 2003, the information technology, like for example, qualification and experience of adjudicating officers and the manner of holding inquiry rules 2003 was passed. There are public interest litigations filed by Asian School of Cyber Laws. Initially, when my presentation was happening, I have shared with you. Their chief responsibility under the IT Act is to adjudicate and on cases such as unauthorized access, unauthorized copying of data, spread of viruses, denial of service attacks, disruption of computers and computer manipulations, etc. This is what I'm just telling you. There are people who have entered with the wrong names in this program also, and how they are going to manipulate this particular data, I will be able to understand that. Be careful, friends, how things are happening in the world, how the cyber access are happening, and how the cyber crimes are also happening. The appointment of adjudicating officer to decide the fate of multi-crore cyber crimes cases in India was the result of public interest litigation filed by the students of Asian School of Cyber Laws. The government had not appointed the adjudicating officers of the Cyber Regulation Appellate Authority for almost 2 years after the passage of IT Act. This prompted ACSL students to file a public interest litigation in the Bombay High Court asking for a speedy appointment of adjudicating officers. The Bombay High Court, in its order dated 9th October 2002, directed the central government to announce the appointment of adjudicating officers in the public media to make the people aware of the appointments. Friends, after the Bombay High Court announcement of the bill, the division bench of the Bombay High Court, consisting of Honorable Justice A.P. Shah and Honorable Justice Ranjan Desai, also ordered that the cyber regulations appellate tribunal be constituted within a reasonable time frame, and the central government passed an order on 23rd March 2003, and the Secretary of Department of Information and Technologies were in India are adjudicating officers. So this was the first adjudicating officer system was put in place after a bill is been filed. The Information Technology Security Procedures Rule 2004 came into force on 29th October 2004, and they prescribed the provisions relating to the secure digital signature and secure electronic records also. Just few minutes, please. Also, the applicability of the Information Technology Other Standards Rules 2003 were relevant to this, and also important order relating to blocking of website were passed on 27th February 2003. So blocking of the website also can be done, its act applicable. Computer Emergency Response Team can instruct Department of Telecommunication to block a website. So there is a team also has been put in place, and further the Indian Penal Code as amended by the IT Act penalizes several cyber crimes, and these include forgery of electronic records, cyber frauds, and destroying electronic evidence, etc. And digital evidence if 1872 area. The case of bank records, the provision of Bankers Book Evidence Act as amended by IT Act are relevant. Investigation and adjudication of cyber crimes is done in accordance with the provision of Code of Criminal Procedure and also IT Act. The Reserve Bank of India Act was also amended by IT Act. According to the IEA 1872, it requires the persons producing the evidence under section 65B. So this is very, very important, where the evidence under 1872 shall obtain a certificate from the appropriate authority and then only it shall be admissible in the court of law. So the digital evidence is collected and proven in the court as per the provision of Indian Evidence Act as amended by the IT Act. Amendment was brought in the year 2000 pertaining to electronic evidence under IEA 1872. Friends, recently the Government of India has passed the data protection law. We will be discussing on this in the next few presentations. Maybe tomorrow in the second part we will be discussing. The data protection refers to the set of privacy laws, policies and procedures that aim to minimize the intrusion into one's privacy caused by the collection, storage and dissemination of personal data, and personal data generally refers to the information or data which relate to a person who can be identified from that person or data whether collected by government or any private organization or any agency. Friends, this is going to be a big crime. Mentioning to some other people on some other person and addressing them is also a big crime. I have been targeted by few people like this. That means your data will be collected and if to your own people the data will be shared and you will be wrongly indicated to them. So these kind of things, when they are using it, it will be a big crime, very specifically through emails. I have been targeted like that also because I keep on giving various acts and presentations. They take the information from the website, take their email IDs and protect you as a wrong person, and then they will say that this people has done that, this person has done a big crime. These things are all well targeted. Be careful, friends. The Constitution of India does not patently grant the fundamental right to privacy. So, however, the courts have read the right to privacy into the other existing fundamental rights, that is freedom of speech expression under Article 19(1)(a) and right of to life and personal liberty under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. However, under the Data Privacy and Protection in India, the fundamental rights under the Constitution of India are subject to reasonable restrictions given under Article 19(2) of the Constitution that may be imposed by the state. Recently, the famous landmark case, Justice K.S. Puttaswamy retired versus Union of India and others. The Constitution bench of the Honorable Supreme Court has held right to privacy as a fundamental right and subject to certain reasonable restrictions. Since the recent changes also I will discuss with you in continuation, but in a broader length I am just discussing with you. The Information Technology Act 2000 deals with the issues relating to payment of compensation and punishment in case of wrongful disclosure and misuse of personal data and violation of contractual terms in respect of personal data. Under Section 43A of Information Technology Act 2000, a body of corporate who is possessing, dealing or handling any sensitive personal data or information and is negligent in implementing and maintaining reasonable scrutiny, corporates may held liable to pay damage to a person so affected. At the same time, it is important to note that there is no upper limit specified for compensation that can be claimed by affected party in such circumstances. Let us continue on the Data Privacy and Protection Act. Information knowingly and intentionally without the consent of the person concerned and in breach of lawful contract has also been made punishable with imprisonment for term extending to 3 years and fine extending to 5 lakhs rupees approximately. It is noted that under Section 69 of Data Protection, Privacy and Protection Act, which is exemption to the general rule of maintenance of privacy and secrecy of information, provided that where the government is satisfied that is necessary in the interest of sovereignty and integrity of India, defense of India, security of the state, friendly relations with the foreign states for investigation of any offence under Information Technology Act 2000. Friends, I will keep on telling certain examples to you and how certain data will be misused and misrepresented. There are certain cases which I will take you through the examples of the case laws. Let us now continue on the Information Technology Act 2000 is an act to provide legal recognition for transactions carried out by means of an electronic data interchange and other means of electronic communications, commonly referred to as electronic commerce. Where now we are talking about the e-commerce side and how we are protected through consumer laws. It involves use of alternate to the paper-based methods of communication and storage of information to facilitate electronic filing of documents with government agencies also. The grounds on which government can interfere with the data. Under Section 69 of the IT Act, any person authorized by government or its officer specially authorized by the government, it is satisfied that it is necessary, if satisfied that it is necessary or expedient, so to do the interest of the sovereignty or integrity of India, for example, defense, security of state, friendly relations with the foreign states, or public order, preventing incitements to the commission of any cognizable offence relating to above, or for investigation of any offence for reason to be recorded in writing by order, can direct any agencies of the government to intercept or monitor by or decrypt or cause to be intercepted or monitored or decrypted, any information generated or transmitted, received or stored in any computer resources also is a big crime. Friends, the IT Acts includes both interception and monitoring along with the decryption for the purpose of investigation of cyber crimes, and also the government has also notified the information technology, that is the procedure and safeguards for interception, monitoring and decryption of the information rules 2009 under the above section, that is section 69. To understand the jurisprudence of cyber law, it is essential to examine how the definitions of key terms and concepts were developed. Simply put, a computer has the following characteristics. It has high-speed data process device or system. It may be electronic or magnetic or optical, etc. It performs logical, arithmetic, and memory functions. These functions are performed by manipulations of electronic and magnetic or optical impulses. So, evolution of key terms and its concepts also very important. Very important, the concept computers, and simply put, computers include all input facilities, all storage facilities, all output facilities, all communication facilities, all processing facilities, all computer software facilities, and which are connected or related to the computer in a computer system. Data, which is very important. Simply put, data is a representation of the information and knowledge, facts, concepts or instructions prepared or being prepared in a formalized manner, processed, being processed, or sought to be processed in a computer. Data can be in many forms such as computer prints also. 2 minutes. Data can be in different form, many forms, and it is also computer prints also. Magnetic storage media, hard disk, optical storage media like CD-ROMs, DVD and VCDs, punched cards or tapes, that is a paper card in which holes are punched. All these things are the evolution of key terms and concepts. Illustrations like Sanya is typing a document on a computer. The moment she presses keys on her keyboard, the corresponding alphabets are also shown on her screen. So, but in the background, some parts of the documents are stored in the RAM or of her computer being processed, while other parts are stored on the hard disk process. So at any given instant, some information would be passing from her keyboard to the computer and so to be processed. So be careful, friends. Illustration of certain data can be in many forms. That is, the electronic version of this book stored on your computer or CD would be a data. A printout of the electronic version of this book will also be a data. Very important, the computer software is a general term that describes as a collection of computer programs, procedure, and documentation. On computer hardware, on the other hand, consists of physical devices that can store and execute computer software. Illustration, Sanya downloads the OpenOffice and software from the internet. In effect, where what she downloads is a executable file. She double clicks on the executable file and begins to install the software on her computer. System software can be various types such as operating system, which form the platform of our other software on the computer. Device drivers, which allow computer programs to interact with the hardware devices such as printers, scanners, etc. Programming tools, which help programmers to develop and test other programs. Compilers, which compile the source code into the object code. Linkers, which link object code files, and libraries to generate. All these things, be careful, friends. Execution files. Utility of software that helps manage and tune the computer hardware, operating system, or application software. Simply put, a computer system has the following characters need to be done. It is a device or a collection. So I need not tell you what is its support system and how it is been programming calculator. Like laptop, when you're doing some work, or sophisticated laser printer, or high-end scanners and cell phones, these are also can be intruded very easily. Microwave satellites. Satellite internet connections is an arrangement in which outgoing and incoming data through the satellites. Each subscriber hardware includes a satellite dish, antenna, and a transceiver. The dish antenna transmits and receives the signal. Be careful with your TV also. The term microwave refers to electronic magnetic waves of the particular frequency, microwave frequencies, and used in the radars, Bluetooth devices when you use for the mobiles, and radio, astronomy, and GSM mobile phones network, broadcasting and telecommunication transmissions, etc. Even while you are listening to the music also, it includes certain data also. So somebody may be using this information. Terrestrial lines include fiber optic cables, telephone lines, etc. So please, friends, it is better not to have a mobile. It is better not to have a computer now. Communication media refers to any instruments or means of the facilities of transfer of data. Yes, we should be very careful. Between the computer and peripherals also, between two computers also, it so happens. Other ways in which two computers can be connected into cables, hubs and switches, etc., and where data can be procured. Now, I will be defining you few acts, important sections under the IT acts, which the cyber crimes are happening and how it will be useful for you to understand legally. According to section 210 of the IT Act, data means a representation of information, knowledge, facts, concepts, or instruction which are being prepared. That means it is being processed, and being processed has been processed in the computer itself. Maybe in any form also. It can be the computer printout, magnetic or optical storage of media, punched cards, punched tapes, and stored internally in the memory of the computer. Be careful, friends. When you have the identity card, when you go to the office, when you swipe it, then it automatically gives certain entrance for you also to data. Be careful with this also. Under section 21I of the IT Act, computer means any electronic, magnetic, or optical or other high-speed data processing device or system which performs logical, arithmetic, and memory functions of the by manipulations of electronic, magnet, or optical impulses, and includes all inputs, outputs, processing, storage, computer software, or communication facilities which are connected or related to the computer in a computer system or a computer network also. So be careful, this acts applicable. Computer system means a device of collection in the computer system, like including input and output devices, which just now I have discussed with you. It can be through the conjunction or through the external files containing different computer programs or electronic instructions or input data and output data that performs logic, arithmetic, data storage, and retrieval communication where it can be included, and the applicable law is computer system under section 21I. If you look at the same under the IT Act, I'm just taking you through important sections. That under section 21J, computer network means interconnection of one or more computers through the use of satellites, microwave, terrestrial, line, or other communication media, and terminals are a complex consisting of two or more interconnected computers, whether not or interconnection is continuously maintained. All these are well defined in the IT Act. So usage of the same, which are misused through the cyber crimes under the cyber laws, we will be able to well connected and restrict this to the acts. So friends, with this, I am able to discuss with you what is cyber laws, what is cyber crimes, what is the jurisprudence, and what is the terms, and what is the important sections today. With this, I will be able to stop my introduction part of it and will be able to take you through another presentation in few seconds, please. let us discuss about those few cyber crimes under the cyber law right now. Yeah, very specifically is cybercrime and introduction on cybercrime, jurisprudence, jurisdiction, forms of cybercrimes, explanation of cybercrimes. Because until now we have discussed about the cyber laws and its various cybercrimes. In detail, we are going to discuss how it comes under the contents of the cyber law. Cybercrime is not an old sort of crime to the world. It is defined as many as criminal activity which takes place on or over the medium of computers or internet or other technology recognized by the Information Technology Act. The Indian legislature does not provide the exact definition of cybercrime by any statute. Even the Information Technology Act 2000, which deals with cybercrime, doesn't define the term of cybercrime very clearly. However, it is generated in general. The term of cybercrime means any illegal activity which is carried over or with the help of internet or computers. The Oxford Dictionary defines the cybercrime as a criminal activity carried out by means of computers or the internet. Cybercrime may be used to be those species of which genus is the conventional crime and where either the computer is an object or subject of conducting the constituting crime. So that means the object cannot be even the computer also sometimes. It can be other forms. Cyber crimes means any criminal or other offense that is facilitated by involving use of electronic communication or information system, including any device or internet or any one of them. Jurisdiction is one aspect which is very difficult to determine in transnational transaction over the internet. There were unimaginable ambiguity when courts are subject to the question of pertaining or jurisdiction of the law, which is very important, and were unable to decide the enter, proper form of entertain cases involving cybercrime, as the cyberspace or virtual world is borderless if we compare it with the physical world, and that is why it is very difficult to control the cyber crime. Unauthorized access of hacking, different forms of cybercrimes are keep happening from day to day. Unauthorized access means any kind of access without the permission of either of the rightful person or in charge of the computer and computer system or computer network. Hacking means an illegal intrusion into a computer system or a network. Every act committed towards breaking into a computer or network is also hacking. Because until now we have been not discussed about the hacking part of it. So hacking is a very big international crime which keep happening the worldwide. The pitfall for many multinational companies sometime. Hackers write or use ready-made computer programs to attack the targeted computer. They possess the desire to distract and they get into the kick of such distractions. Government websites are most targeted sites for the hackers very frequently. Forms of cybercrimes. Web hijacking, very important. Web hijacking means taking a forceful control of another person's website. In this case, the owner of the website loses the control over his website and its content sometime. So friends, please be careful. Once you have one website, be careful to safeguard the same. Use proper antiviruses and other things so that it cannot be hacked and the owners will be changed. Pornography. The word pornography derived from the Greek word "pron" and the graphian means writing about the prostitutes are referred to any work of the art or literature dealing with sex and sexual themes also. For example, defining the term of pornography is very difficult and it does not have any specific definition in the eyes of law, or every country has their own custom and traditions and applicable laws on it. Cyber pornography is a simple word defined as the act of using cyberspace to create, display, distribute, import, or publish the pornography or obscene materials. The term obscene means relating to materials that can be regulated or criminalized because their depiction of nudity, sex, or excretion is patently offensive and without artistic or scientific values. 1 minute, please. Very importantly, the test of obscenity was first laid down in the case of Regina versus Hicklin as the tendency to deprave and corrupt those whose minds are open to such influences and into whose hands a publication of their sort may fall. And it is understood that the test would apply only to the isolated passage of work. So just think of the forms of cyber laws and its cyber crimes. Child pornography is sometimes it is also one of the cybercrime forms. The internet is being highly used as a medium to sexually abuse children. The children are viable victim to the cybercrime. Computers and internet having become a necessary for every household, the children have now got easy access to internet and Philadelphians lure the children by distributing pornographic material, and then they try to meet them for the sex or to take their nude photographer including their engagement in the sexual positions. So be careful friends, be careful with the child pornography also. At the same time, let us look into other form, cyber staking. In general term, staking can be termed as a repeated act of the harassment and targeting the victim, such as the victims making harassing phone calls, killing of the victim's pet, vandalizing victim's property, leaving written messages or objects very badly. Cyber staking means repeated acts of the harassment or threat behavior to cyber criminal towards the victim by using internet services also. Both kinds of this staking online or and offline have desire to control the victim's life. Denial of service attack is another form of cyber crime. This is an attack in which the criminal floods the bandwidth of the victim's network or fills with email box which spam and depriving him of the services he is entitled to access or provide. This kind of attack is designed to bring the network to crash by flooding it with the useful traffic and but like virus, new DOS attack and constantly being dreamed up by the hackers. That means they are regularly monitoring your data. So be careful on these kinds of things which they try to misuse and they themselves will make the other people happiness into out. That means viruses are the programs that are capable to intact other programs and make copies of itself and spread into other program. Programs that multiply like viruses and spread from computer to computer are called as worms. These are the malicious software that attach themselves to other software, virus and worms, Trojan horse, time bomb, logic bomb, Robit, and bacterium are the malicious, and viruses usually affect the data on a computer either by altering or deleting it. On the other hand, worms merely make functional copies of themselves and do this repeatedly till they eat up all available. Software piracy refers to the illegal copying of genuine programs or the counterfeiting and distributing of products intended to pass off for the original. These kind of crimes also include copyright infringement, trademarks violation, theft of computer source code, patent violation, etc. etc. Domain names are also trademarks and protected by ICANN domain dispute resolution policy and also under trademark laws. These attacks are used for the commission of financial crimes, and the key here is to make alterations so insignificant that in single case it would be completely unnoticed. That means salami attack. Bank employees inserts a program into the bank servers and that deducts the small amounts of money, say for example 5 a month, from the account of every customer. And this particular customer software will be taken out and misused and 5 crores will be taken it. So like this, the misuse is one of the cyber crimes. Phishing is the act of sending an email to user friendly claiming to be an established legitimate enterprise in an attempt to scam the user info, surrendering private information that will be used for identifying as a theft. The email directs the user to visit a website. So all these things, multiple areas. Misuse, writing against a person badly in an email through sending groups in the email, taking the data from different sources and mailing to other people saying that is very bad without the adjudication process is happened and without the proper information. Some people will try using the some data so that during the adjudication process they try to blackmail the person if their issue was not resolved. That means the issue they want a favorable judgment. If they want a favorable judgment, and they will try different kinds of sources so that the companies will play a game with this. So these things are also happening very regularly. But please don't think the people those are other side are fools. So these kind of things are multiple areas where cyber crimes are keep happening, very specifically in the email side and also through the communication systems. The website, however, is a bogus and set up only to steal the user information. Sale of illegal articles. I will try to stop at 6:20 so that we can ask few questions. If you have any questions, we have 10 minutes time. Please ask. Yes, there is a question from Ravi Prakash. Corporal information means sir, difference between patent and IPR sir, and the panelist facing any challenges and the penalties. Yes, there may be a multiple things because a patent can be misused. For example, Dr. Reddy Labs and Hetero product or a Pfizer, their products are misused. That means the information on that were mismanaged and it will be misused means it is also a threat to the persons who are patent owners. There is a question from Utkarsh Kumar. Please give us an example of defamation laws. Yes, there are multiple defamation laws. If somebody has been directly said anything to anybody which falls under any laws in India, which falls under the purview of the constitution, then it is can be defamed. But if it is something happening indirectly, you cannot put the defamation laws. Two names
Earlier
are
they
still
were
there. 111 SME CMU and YO 1921 is still there, sir. Okay, we will talk to the company.
Sir,
Public interest litigation. Yes, public interest litigation. Those who have anything somebody has done against the law, and they can go and file a public litigation in the high courts.
sir, earlier there were questions. One was,
What are the penalties of? Yeah,
sir, earlier there was a,
yeah, tell me. I'm reading out from the chat and answering. Once I complete the chat, then you can ask the questions. Okay? Okay with you?
yes, sir, what I say?
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Just wait for a few minutes. I'm answering the questions in the chat.
Yes, sir. I am asking the questions that
Okay?
earlier in the chat box while we are doing the session. Many people have asked the question at that time.
Yeah, please ask. Please ask.
Okay, sir. So there was a question of difference between patent and IPR and penalties on facing any challenges.
See, patent is part of the IPR, the intellectual property rights. If you look at part of the intellectual property rights are patents, designs, trademarks, copyright, and designs. So all these things fall under the intellectual property rights. That means intellectual property rights. So this is part of there. And what is the other question in this?
Other question was somebody was asking for examples on defamation laws.
See, defamation laws are laws which somebody is directly being threat, or directly if he is able to abuse them, and if it is falls under any laws where he can be imprisoned or penalties can be put in place, then the applicability of defamation laws will come.
Okay, sir. Sir, somebody was asking how to become a cyber lawyer.
You have to understand what is cyber laws, because I am taking you through the introduction of cyber laws, what are the various crimes of cyber laws. I am introducing you the applicable laws on the cyber laws. All these things is an introduction one, which today and tomorrow you will be having it. Need to understand, need to read the IT Act, need to read the Data Protection Act. There are multiple acts you need to read, and then go internship, do the internship like senior people like me and other people. Once you do the internships, you will be able to understand what are the applicable laws and how you will be able uh, to safeguard your client in the courts. That also need to be heard, and how to present the applicable laws. So once that is been done, then you will become a cyber law expert lawyer. So first do some internships. After, we are also planning, our organization is planning to do 1 month full course. Once that is done, then you can go for a practice.
So another question is how artificial intelligence will help in cyber law.
See, the progress of cyber to the one more step is artificial intelligence. So once you are crossing the step of cyber, it is mean you are entering into the artificial intelligence. So cyber and certain things, the jurisprudence and certain applicable laws need to be also come into the artificial intelligence. So now we have come over the cyber crimes, and next we are entering into the artificial intelligence. So there will be a lot of difference. It is little bit overlapping one another, and also it is also helping to you that to overcome the cyber crimes, entering into the artificial intelligence. In the artificial intelligence, it is more of an intelligence. Similarly, in the cyber crimes, certain things cannot be proved without covering of certain ambit of laws in that. So at that time, the decision making by the high courts and supreme court will be very difficult. So artificial intelligence, the process and other things have just come into the line in the law in this year in 2020. So just wait for their laws.
So another question is, explain something about identity theft.
Identity.
Identity theft. What does it include?
See, the identity threat in the sense like when while we are doing a profession an evidence cross examination, and when you are doing for a cross examination, for example, when you are making an identity to prove that at that time when you are proving certain things, you need to also keep a gap to understand whether it will be taken as an applicable evidence or not. So the identity will come into only picture if a reasonable answer and which will be covering under the laws, various laws, will be able to be recognized during the arguments and other process, then only the identity things verifications will come into picture.
So there's a question from Ravi Prakash. He's saying that he has an experience of 13 years in the IT field. So can he move to the legal department in any private company? So what are the skills required for the same?
See, it depends on his interest. It depends on his interest where to go. Yes, he has has an experience in the IT side. He can move into the cyber crime side. Yes, it will be helpful for him.
So anybody is having any more questions relating to anything, whatever has been explained during the session? So somebody was asking you,
There are many questions.
to explain section 69 of IEA Act 2000.
Pardon, can you repeat?
Somebody is asking for explanation of section 69 of IEA Act 2000.
Yeah, I have already explained. I will share my presentation to you, and few more examples will be shared with you tomorrow. No problem.
Okay, so Utkarsh, it will be okay with you? Will it be okay with you? So another question,
So I will make it into.
is the cyber law written, and if anyone is a victim of cybercrime, then how it's trialed? How the trial is done for the cyber?
See, when somebody Yeah, nowadays all the cyber stations, like the police stations, cyber stations are also been put in place very specifically. You can approach the cyber stations, and I only say to all of you is that when somebody approaches you with the cyber issue, try to act very fast, because if the evidence is being moved out, then he will not be able to act. So try to act as fast as possible and give the complaint to the cyber crime station, so that they will be able to act very fast and take out the information available. Before the information is wiped out, don't go try to go for a cyber trial. So try to act very fast, my only small suggestion to you, then the culprit will be easily catched.
So another question, cyber laws concern the civil side or the criminal side of the law?
Both, madam, concerns to civil and criminal also sometimes.
Okay. So somebody is asking that is taking screenshot for a good purpose will come under cyber law?
It depends on how he uses it. Screenshot is not a crime, but it depends on if we try to use it for a different mode without the permission of the presenter and other things, then it will be very difficult. So how he misuses it, it's important. So if you try to misuse that, there are many people are there in this group also. They try to get certain information from me and try to misuse. So these kind of things keep happening in every mode. So don't worry about that. How people will misuse that, that is important, and how it will fall under the crime is important.
So another question is, should cases be filed with tribunals or in courts?
See, it is a tribunals actually. In the courts also sometimes, if it come across with the certain crimes, which it will fall under the jurisdiction of that particular judge, then it can be trial can be made. Criminal trials will always made in the criminal courts.
So another question is, does HIPAA comes in data privacy or cyber law?
IPA. IPA comes under data privacy or
Cyber
cyber law.
law.
It comes under the data privacy.
Hello?
Even the data privacy itself is part of the cyber crimes now. So don't misunderstand, both will come together in due course.
So another question is, why the pirated sites are running if it's a cyber crime?
See, if that is not there, then where is job for us? So we need to, people are there because if somebody is making big money, then somebody is very much interested. The competitor is very much interested to kill that website. So once that website is killed, then he can make the full money, no? So it is a war between both the parties. It will be a war between country to country. Many more things are there.
So another question is, how can jurisdiction be decided?
It depends on the area which the crime is happened. Either side, we have to look into that. If it is in India at Delhi, if it is happened, then the jurisdiction will be taken as Delhi, but the other side stays in Jeddah or in Kuwait. Then the jurisdiction will be first, the complainant jurisdiction will be taken care, and there may be certain foreign trade agreements also will be there. That also will implement that.
How can we differentiate between civil and criminal cyber law?
That I will take you through when I tell about the criminal side, because I have already told about the civilian one. So at that time I will present about civil and criminal changes also.
So,
Civil laws are mostly applicable for the property matters, criminal laws for the offences, in simple words.
so any more questions? Whether, so another question is, whether at
You
the
can put
place of
your
where
back.
victim is suffered, jurisdiction will be whether at the place
Pardon?
where victim suffered. Jurisdiction will be whether at the place of where the
Yeah.
victim suffered.
Yes, correct. It's that is what I told you. No, the complainant is from Delhi and somebody is in the Kuwait. The place of suffered will be always the jurisdiction.
Okay. So Gurmeet, have you got your answer? Okay, thank you very much. Another question is from Utkarsh. He's asking what is intellectual property and also give some examples.
See, intellectual property, like for example, if you have a Red Bull brand, if you have a Canon brand, if you have a Pepsi brand, if you have a Coke brand, it comes under the trademark. Somebody registered it. Patents means patents are like for example the COVID medicine is a formula which can be patented. The software can be patented. A design like for example a frock or a sari can be designed, can be patented. So all these things fall under the IPR. That means the intellectual property rights, trademarks, patents, designs, and copyrights. I will take you through the IPR presentation. If the organizers are ready, I will take you through in next month's sessions. Don't worry.
So there was one question whether the cryptocurrency, we have any provision in cyber law related to cryptocurrency.
See, cryptocurrency is an offense or a punishment for duplicating. It doesn't come under the cyber crime, I think, but we need to largely examine whether how the process has been happened.
Oh. So another
Case
question.
to case basis.
So whose question was it? Divyansh, have you got your answer? So another question was, is there any statutory limitation period for the acts done under cyber law?
Yes, there are specific periods are there, but that means it should not go beyond the Limitation Act, and certain acts will also allow, the courts also will allow further period. It depends on the jurisdiction sometimes.
Somebody is asking for the names of the law firms that come under copyright or trademarks.
Copyrights will never come under copyrights, will never come under trademarks or patents. It is their own registered organization. So law firms may be having some logo sometime. So that is a trademark that fall under IPR. But the name itself is a encrypting, like Canon, Coke. If they are registering as a their mark, then it can be it fall under IPR.
Okay, sir, but Murari, he has asked this question twice. Is LLB degree mandatory to practice in cyber law?
No. But if you are contesting before a court, if you are filing anything, then LLB is required, no?
Yes, sir.
If you want to become a cyber expert, you better be a science graduate only. They are more feasible people.
So, can you share your any of the experience of any case related to cybercrime?
Yeah, I will send. I will send tomorrow to you. While I'm sending the presentations, I will send to you
Sir, Ujjwal is asking that.
with a video. I will send to you.
Okay. No. So another question is from Ujjwal. He's asking that is technical mistake comes under cyber law without knowledge, that you don't have a knowledge of that particular mistake and it has been done without any conscious efforts.
Yeah, people will be generally will be trapped. You doesn't know that what's happening generally. So that is why you are trapped and you will fall under the prey for in the cyber crimes. So you doesn't know that when you are doing a net banking, for example, instead of while you are typing, the control of the net banking screen may be with the cyber crime person, and while you are because they have your password and other things. Instead of putting 1,000, if unknowingly you may be looking at you have put as 1,000, but the real thing is that 1 crore is put in that and it is transferred. So these are all the examples I can tell how it will be trapped. Be careful. Try to put less amount in the banks in the net banking. I am very careful with that.
So any more questions?
So we will continue tomorrow. I'll come back again 5 o'clock. If you have any more questions, you can do tomorrow also. No problem.
Yes, sir. So I would just ask Mr. Rupam Banerjee
Okay.
to
Thank you very much for
just
giving an
end this.
opportunity.
Rupam, are you here in this meeting?
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. The entire Amikus Qriae family is really obliged to have you here with us, sir. And thanking you for sparing your valuable time to engage with the law student in this first day of the certificate course on this cyber law topic. We feel really honored to get an understanding of the topic from your experiences and thoughtful ideas. Thank you, sir, once again for your time today, sir. Thank you, sir. We'll be meeting tomorrow.
Thank you, Romam, and entire participants. I thank you them. And tomorrow we'll be having an elaborated discussion tomorrow in continuation. Thank you and see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Now you all can leave the meeting.